happy. But the Ashe is going to be banned, so the Rumble going to be left open. And it's JackeyLove's Draven. I mean, the audience erupts as they should do. The man, one of his signature champions.
And it's against Sansama, who's also it's one of his favorites as well. And the Braum comes out once again.
What?
We did see the Kog'Maw already, but it was with a Renata. That's what I hated about it. I kind of like the idea of going back to this Kog'Maw Braum that they have really enjoyed.
Last year at Worlds is the last time we also saw this prior to this tournament, but this was something that they brought out domestically at times. I don't know how I feel about it yet. Let's wait to see what the rest of the draft looks like as Top Esports is hovering the Corki for Creme.
Yeah, I mean, especially when the Draven was something that Gen G struggled against into Top Esports. JackeyLove was able to have a great performance, so now I'm just super interested to see how they're going to try and plan out. But Corki, is it going to be the Orianna, or do you just go back towards the Tristana again here for caps and keep what worked for you as G2?
I actually kind of like the idea of going back towards the Tristana, but Nautilus going to be locked in alongside the Draven, something that Meiko has been pretty good at in the past, or we're considering something else. Of course, both Yike and Tian finding a fair bit of success with the Jarvan, and Jarvan will be locked in for Tian this time around. A different bit of a Demacian flavor in the jungle.
I do think it's a good shout because the Kog'Maw are going to be quite immobile. If you can actually almost sacrifice yourself as the Jarvan in the later fights, prevent the Kog'Maw from getting into the equation, it's going to work out pretty well for Top Esports. It's just a case of now, do you go for the Orianna and have double immobile carries, or do you go back towards the Tristana, which I think is the right call, just giving yourself some mobility so both of your carries can't be locked up.
I mean, Ivan has to be banned, right?
Yeah,
I mean, because this is...
They have to choose a tree and ban it. That's what's going to have to happen here. I wonder whether the Lilia priority will still stay high here for Top Esports as well, because that was their first ban in the second round last time.
Right, well, let's see what G2 choose to take away. Support still up. I don't think they have to be concerned about a Nautilus ban, given that they've got Braum.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Rumble, I think, makes sense. They were already scared about it after game one. They banned it in the first rotation. This time they're moving it to the second. I'm wondering, is Renata something? There's the Ivan ban that we were talking about, but Renata is a possibility. Rakan, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think you're particularly worried about any support, to be honest. I think that's kind of the nice thing about Braum. Unless you're looking at like some sort of enchanter, but Draven with enchanter doesn't really work.
Draven Zyra sounds like it'd do all right.
Oh, that's an old school one.
But I think you're in a pretty good spot here as G2, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Top Esports just continue.
How crazy is it that every game G2 somehow draw a new ban? You know, like, it's like, Ivan's ban percentage just shot up significantly just because it's now been played in a single game.
But I think that's always the beauty of G2 at International, is that they're willing to bring out these more abstract picks and make sure that they're able to work in different scenarios, and they will find ways to make them work. But what will work now for G2?
I mean, it's looking like a Maokai, right? I feel like, Your engage is a little bit limited, but still, Maokai ultimate is really good. Your siege is still really strong. You've got scaling elements on your side. I mean, I like Corki Jarvan from the side of Top Esports. Maybe they want a little bit more dive. Let's see what direction they go with next.
This is, of course, one of Yike's favorites as well, the Rek'Sai to be locked in here. And not giving away too much as far as what this composition is going to look like in the end, but just still waiting on Broken Blade's pick. Very surprised. Wow, yeah. Is this the 7th game for 369 on Ksante so far this tournament? I think it might be. Definitely has been favoring him quite a lot.
But the thing is, we've already seen BB has answers into it. Got the Camille, the Twisted Fate was not picked up in the last one. You still have a lot of answers, and at the moment, Yike has the control that you want in the early stages with this Rek'Sai to be able to interrupt, to cause a lot of backline threats. So I think you're relatively happy here as G2 if you want to go for a Camille with the double dive, or even just have a more kite-back comp with these long-range rapid-fire cannon TF stuns to enable the fight for you.
Forgive my ignorance, but does Renata ultimate get blocks by Braum E, or does it just go over it?
I think it goes over it, as far as I know.
Because I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
I mean, I hope we'll get to see the interaction. But I was wondering to myself, why wouldn't G2 want to ban the Renata? And maybe it's because they think against the shield wall it would be fine. But the Twisted Fate going to come out. So again, G2 going with a multi-carry threat approach. Funnily enough, coming into this tournament, the team that I would associate this playstyle with was T1. They were the type of team that would always like draft multiple carry lanes, always have multiple threats on the map and multiple win conditions. And G2 taking a similar approach. The second game in a row that Broken Blade is being given a carry, Last game, he was a little isolated, but at the end of the game, he had done the most damage in the whole game. He was a menace. And G2 are now once again going to have these side lane threat options. Tristana, a good split pusher. Twisted Fate, a good split pusher. Their front to back, I think, weaker than what we saw in the previous game. But Top Esports, I think, with a lot more dive on their side. Again, with a very similar front to back approach, though.
I do like the non-committal engage that you have from G2 though, where you can play for long-range rapid-fire gold cards. You can try and fish for a little bit of damage coming through, and as a Top Esports, you have to kind of all in if you want to get the real value from your composition. So jumping into the Rek'Sai, jumping into the Braum is actually going to make things a little bit more difficult for Top Esports.
A very different look in both of the sides of the draft going into game number 2. We'll see whose adaptation is going to reign supreme. I think most of the MSI audience here right now are looking at JackeyLove's Draven, thinking that that might be the ticket to an even series. But G2, I do like the amount of enable Mickey that they have in this composition is absurd. And we know that Mickey is just going to go in as often as he can. Engage Braum, we hate it as LCK commentators. We've seen it attempted many times, but I kind of don't mind the vibe. Because here we are, onto the rift for game number 2. Top Esports once again on the blue side. Now looking to change how this one's going to go. Creme looked great on the Corki in their series against Gen G. We'll see whether once again that is going to be the case, as already getting a bit of that first strike value.
You can see the crowd naturally incredibly enthusiastic. There are a lot of G2 supporters in this arena, by the way. And we've had already, we were just chilling in the break, and we had like a bunch of different fans coming up like, G2 3-0. And I was like, not what I was expecting, but okay, cool. Yeah, so the crowd is incredibly excited for all of the plays that are happening today. We're gearing up for a banger. I'm excited to see what Top Esports can do. Gen G found a way to handle JackeyLove's Draven. Hang on.
Well, see whether this is going to be the answer, and I think running away from it is a good idea at this point in time, as Mickey already down to 50%. Hansama has pressed W, but that's all he's really able to do. That is going to be a great trade to start things off here, and Top Esports feeling good about how that bottom lane has started.
Yeah, the fact you already have the Braum low and had to burn a pod is going to be massive. Even Meiko getting that ward into spot exactly where Yike is going. It is responded on the opposite side thanks to Cap, so going to be a lot of information as to what junglers are up to in the early stages of this game.
Now, the last time we saw Hansama bring out this Kog'Maw, it didn't work out against T1. It was game 4, and basically G2 had no early game options at all. They slowly bled out. They lost all of the early objectives, and as you can see in this bot lane 2 versus 2, it's already going in the favor of Top Esports. Well, as you would expect, double ranged matchup into more of a scaling defensive bot lane matchup, but Top Esports are going to be eyeing up potential dives. They're going to be looking to stack up waves, early level 2, early level 3, into a bot lane threat dive potential, and it's something that G2 is going to have to respect and look to play on. And bear in mind that Yike is pathing towards his top side. He started his bot side camp, so I'm really curious as to if Top Esports will do anything in the early game to try and punish this Kog'Maw pick.
I think as the game goes on, it will get slightly easier, because I think Cap's having as much control in the mid lane of this Tristana can lead to him leading down bot, but 369 already not coming out in the favorable side of these trades. On the top side is BB getting a good amount of damage there.
Yeah, it looked a little bit dicey for a second there, but BB able to find the gold card just in the nick of time. Big wave stacked up here towards the bottom side. Not looking like there is too much of a dive coming in here, though, as Yike on vision. That one from Meiko, pretty good ward.
He's spending a lot of time just covering for a potential bot dive. This wave is going to be thin enough that the bot lane of G2 aren't that concerned anymore, which is why he can feel safe going back. But you now look at the camp discrepancy that's starting to come through. Actually, I say that Tian actually completely skipped his walls, getting over towards the red buff first. They're stacking up another wave now, still only level 2. They need that level 3 to increase their chances of surviving the dive.
Well, Mickey puts up the door as Tian getting some information here. Know exactly what's going on. Does G2? We'll see whether they can actually survive this one already. Hansama, some decent damage coming down as the Void Ooze comes on through there. Great flash to avoid the flag and drag. And now Meiko, he's not going to get bailed out from this one. And Mickey's diving forward. Caps, he's going to get interrupted though. Can't find the rocket jump in. Still Tian, he's going to get stunned. Manages to get out with the flag and drag. But they're going to keep him alive as it's a double kill for the Kog'Maw. And Hansama once again picking up first blood and getting across the line in the bottom lane.
The Unbreakable with the bait on towards the dive means that they're able to turn that around. That's 2 kills now. Yike covering mid. Caps is here though. Creme just wants to try and push him out of lane.
G2 do everything perfectly. It's absolutely insane. I can't believe what the fact that Yike even caught the mid-wave to make sure the Caps doesn't lose anything. Mickey's trying to clear the minions as quickly as possible. A good flash from Hans. Mickey is holding on to the shield for as long as possible. Meiko oversteps, and then look, the shield comes out right now. Once the flash is committed, Mickey doesn't lose his life. Tian has now overcommitted, and then the double flash in from Hans and Caps means that they get the double kill. JackeyLove now with no summoner spells means the G2 have a 1k gold lead already.
And the fact that you get to accelerate this Kog'Maw with both kills is Caps
it is.
has Mickey.
It's still going. Winter's Bite is not going to connect, but that is still a flash down on the Corki. And G2, once again, just dominating in this early game. It's a 1,000 gold lead. That is decent, especially when you've got a Kog'Maw composition.
And you haven't had to even get Yike involved. Yike actually just gets to get ahead because he went topside, cleared out his camps, whereas as Vedi was talking about, you saw the Raptors and the Wolves skipped by Tian.
Look at him again. Now Yike said, oh, not involved. Well, I'm back this time.
Exactly. Yeah, there's so many spells, I like it.
And the wave is naturally pushing towards them. They're going to play the long game. He's managed to sneak into this ward as well. Will Meiko read the play?
Jackie does have Cleanse. That's not going to work when the Rek'Sai is unburrowing. Does manage to get the knock-up onto JackeyLove as now Mickey just in the front line, puts up the door. JackeyLove going to be able to cleanse that one, but that is no summoner spells left remaining for the Draven. They really want to kill him, though. Getting rid of those stacks is huge here because JackeyLove remains a win condition while he stays alive in this game as Caps is going to get a decent trade onto the Corki in the mid lane, and in the meantime, you've got an all-out getting a flash here for 369. Feeling strong in the top lane.
Yeah, Broken Blade being forced to play on the weak side is struggling a little bit in the 1v1, but that doesn't matter. In terms of gold, he's still staying very even. Tian makes his presence known on the bot side of the map once again. Clears out the vision as Yike is forced to clear out his topside camps, but he's going to be able to path back towards bot. Remember that the grubs are now still available. I'm sure G2 would love to get them, and as I say that, screw the camps. Yike makes a beeline towards those grubs.
Yeah, they really want to try and get the grubs, but I think they still need to try and kill JackeyLove. Although we've got the summoner spells out from JackeyLove, Top Esports can still find that one kill, get all those stacks, and suddenly JackeyLove is an absolute menace once more. So although G2 have some control on the bottom side, they're not quite out of the woodwork just yet.
124 adoration stacks already for JackeyLove, as Yike is going to secure the third grub.
Yeah, we'll be able to take that one down. Burrows his way out of Destiny.
He's going
as
back
Yike says, all right, I'm coming back in again.
But hang on, the bot lane of Top Esports is here.
Yeah, that is going to mean that at least they're not able to go aggressive onto Tian. I don't think it is going to mean it's going to be too much of a fight as the Scryer's Bloom spots out where this bottom lane are. So, Mickey going to be Caps' support for a moment as the bottom lane once again going to head back down.
So, we get a breather.
Yeah.
In a tense moment, and we think back to when Top Esports played against Gen G, and again, when we think back to those early games in the series, JackeyLove made life so difficult for Gen G. He would get so strong as Caps.
Not going to get hit by that rocket, but that could have been really, really bad if he did.
Caps is really feeling it today, but Gen G kind of did their homework. They looked back at that series, and they came into this series today, and they were like, okay, so we're just going to try and make JackeyLove as miserable as possible. And we think back to the BLG final against them as well. Elkin on, working with Shun to just perma-dive that bot lane. G2 understood their assignment as Caps.
He just dies! Alrighty! He had Buster Shot, he just wasn't able to use it while he was dead. As in the meantime, here on this bottom side of the map, Hansama with that W running, doing a fair bit of work here. There's the stun! The living artillery! Is the bailout going to come through? No, it's not! And once again, the Top Esports bottom lane are losing to MikyX and Hansama, and they are looking for even more. There's the stun, the living artillery through again, and the minions not going to take down the Kog'Maw.
So the bot lane for G2 looks at Caps and says, all right, look, don't worry, we've got this, lad. We're going to bring it back, but this is
all of my notes are on the wrong sides.
But this is the thing, like, the Kog'Maw Braum was the pick for G2 for so long. This is what they played with last year over the course of winter, perfecting this kind of late game scaling, but the threat in the early game has been huge. But now Broken Blade will have to pay the price.
Yeah, Tian back up here once again as 369 closes the gap. There's the all-out, pushes Broken Blade against the wall, and he'll get knocked up and taken down. 369 grabbing a kill there as Caps continuing to do battle with this Corki in the mid lane. Probably a little bit more apprehensive now.
Top Esports doing what they can on the map, which is find a punish on top. We look back at this 1v1. So already Caps is at a health disadvantage. Creme sees a window to fight, and Caps says, oh, I can just jump over this. No, you can't, good sir. But we look back at this bot lane 2 versus 2, level 6 for Hans Sama, and Mickey says, you know what, we can actually fight this. He mitigates so much of the damage with the shield. The heal comes out from JackeyLove, but because of that Q connecting from Mickey, my god, Mickey, he received so much criticism in summer for his play, but he is having an incredible tournament. And against top esports, he is absolutely popping off.
But it's been back to comfort for Mickey, right? You're like going towards picks that we wouldn't traditionally see, the Poppy, the Leona, the Braum, now making it work.
I think it went in the kitchen and said, guys, I've been cooking.
I think that's his comfort. I think that's what Dagda meant. Yeah, his comfort is in the kitchen, and it's looking absolutely fantastic. As, okay, Golkar going to connect onto 369 here on the top side. Has his Merc Treads, definitely the big one into the Twisted Fate. It's Broken Blade continuing to have shove, of course. Is the Twisted Fate in this lane, so he's going to be feeling pretty happy as Mickey finds Meiko. Creme also here, but he really wants to kill this ward, and he will be able to do so. Handshake or no.
Nice handshake from Meiko there. Dragon's still yet to be taken, 10 minutes into the game. Very late, very delayed. Typically, we try and see these cross maps as a TP comes into top lane, but shouldn't really result in a huge amount. Oh, Yike.
Still going aggressive here as the gold card should be able to connect, but thankfully the Flag and Drag was already there for Tian. He makes it out.
You can see Caps have started to lean up towards top side, so that's why G2 were like, hang on a second, we can maybe make this work. Now Creme going to TP back into mid, so Caps, we just clear the wave, more than likely reset, and look for the TP back in himself, because if you give this much control towards Creme in the mid lane, I think top esports will immediately start to look at Dragon, although JackeyLove and Meiko going for a reset themselves.
Again, we think of Creme as this assassin player, right? He's very well known for his Akali, of course. We've seen him have fantastic performances on the Ahri as well, but against Gen G, it was his Tristana and his Corki that won them games. And so they wanted to have something a little bit more safe in this, like, I say more safe than an Azir. It's probably a poor choice of words, but so far in this lane matchup, he is doing very well. The Grubs have been started off by top esports. They've brought their bot lane up to try and fight. Hans is also on his way, but I think G2 is going to be a little too late to the party.
Yeah, but he's slightly too late. Gwynsu's Rage Blade was picked up by Hans Sama, so G2 would love to try and start something, but not going to be the case. Instead, they push out mid and imagine we'll move over towards Dragon.
Exactly, Dagda. I imagine the cross map will come through. Now, Creme with the package does mean that if top esports really want to, they can look to try and fight this. Tian looks like he's heading towards the Grom, so it would surprise me if they actually do. Instead, I think the safer play is to just secure that objective and make the trade happen.
Yeah, also a bit surprising that you get to use your package on the first Dragon. Because this Dragon took such a long time to actually be taken down, and he will have that one available still. G2 with control of the bottom side river. See whether Creme can actually get in there and utilize the package to get something done.
Yeah, there could be an argument to leave that package until the Rift Herald in 2 minutes time, but just trying to keep it in sync with the Dragons is...
Well, there is that package that we were talking about. Rocket Jump does get through as there's the gate. Interrupted by Tian, and now Broken Blade. He's going to have to flash if he wants to make it out of this one. He does so, uses the Ghost as well. So he'll survive. Yike takes the Dragon, and there was something about to happen in the mid lane, but with the fact that that gate was not allowed, that is going to mean that Creme will be just fine.
Top esports are putting a lot of resources into the top side of the map, and traditionally I'd be like, oh, well, Ksante getting strong is going to do a lot, but when you're up against a Tristana and a Kog'Maw, this percentage health damage, especially from the Kog'Maw, is going to be really tough for this Ksante to deal with.
Well, more aggression here towards the bottom side of the map. Could be a dive opportunity as the Glacial Fissure does not find its mark. There's the flash knockup though as JackeyLove flashes, get himself out of the way. The bailout comes on through, and he's not going to survive through it. Tian now having to flash, but it's not going to work out for him either because he's just between a rock, a hard place, and then dead. Yike now under the turret, and it's a triple for Hans. He's 6-0-1 on the Kog'Maw. Creme, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything here, and this turret should be in the dust too.
This is a Kog'Maw player's dream. You go up against a Draven and you somehow come out of lane 2,500 gold ahead of them. This Kog'Maw's massive. How the hell do you stop him?
And I remember, because I watched the last time Hans played this Kog'Maw, I was with Dracos, and he was like, no, just wait for 2 items. I don't have to wait for 2 items now. They're almost there.
I'm going to be really honest. I have this image in my head of Hans looking JackeyLove in the eye and saying, say LDR again. Look at the dive. The flash from Yike knocks up, and the chains you see on the JackeyLove. He tries to flash away, but the damage is too good. A great ultimate from Meiko, but unfortunately they can't quite get the execute onto Mickey to allow for him to revive and turn the fight around. Caps is able to rotate over first. He then works with his team to secure the kill. He takes the tower aggro, and it's Hans Sama that cleans up with a triple.
It's just great turret aggro.
Yeah, the juggling was incredible.
Now you get to move Caps up towards top side. It's Rift Tower to spawn. You have Hans Sama, as you already pointed out earlier, 2 items. G2 just get to move over and take that. And this is where I was saying, like, Creme maybe could have kept the package for this Rift Tower fight, but without that package and JackeyLove being 0-2, it doesn't really feel like you have a real threat when you go over towards this Rift Tower.
It could have almost been worth to actually try and put some pressure on the Dragon as well, given the fact that it was so incredibly late. You can then play around it, but wasn't something they opted into. Tian actually moving towards the top side instead. But maybe miscommunication, something like that, just not quite finding what they needed to. It's now Broken Blade with no flash. I think should be going down here as 269 gets over the Cataclysm wall. And there it is. So the Twisted Fate down once again. They'll trade it for a Rift Herald though, and maybe some more here towards the top side. Glacial Fissure going to be avoided nicely with the Valkyrie from Creme, who does still have to flash to get himself out of the way. Mickey in a bit of trouble now as Yike from the side. This one's a dicey dive though if they do want to go for it, and I don't think they will.
I mean, Top Esports is trying to get what they can on the cross map. They're able to push out bot. TP is available onto 369. He is going to invest it into top lane. And now G2 have to respect... Oh, no, actually, it's Creme. My apologies.
Just immediately coming back after getting that health bar back up and available.
Ultimately, like, Top Esports recognize that there's nothing they can do bot, so they're trying their best to shut Broken Blade down. They really have done a great job. 369 in the laning phase has been outperforming Broken Blade so far in this series. While Broken Blade could bounce back in the previous game, his passive is not enough in this game to be able to close that gold gap. And it comes back to the question of how big of a problem will this Ksante be? I would argue that Ksante, as difficult as a champion it's been so far at MSI, against a good dog, I don't know. I kind of...
Is Ksante 2,500 gold worth of a problem as the laning massacre?
I mean, also Hans Summit is the goodest of dogs right now.
He is very good. He's a good boy. He's doing a great job.
If only he was actually playing Kog'Maw.
It doesn't matter. I'm going to give him treats anyway.
But we have Corki. We could have had Corki and Kog'Maw.
We
it would
could
have been the best.
The lore is ruined.
Dragon Instead, he needs to go base skin Kog'Maw. The champion with some of the best skins in the game. All right, well, Meiko could be in trouble here. Winter's Bite going to connect, puts up the door. There's the stun, and look at these AD carries. They just wail on him, and Meiko did not stand a chance. Now the Rift Arrow comes down to the mid lane. That should be this turret going down as well, and G2's lead is only going to further extend. As Top Esports, I think they'll be lucky to defend their inner turret here off the back of this one. As MikyX, he wants even more. Not going to find the Glacial Fissure once again, though, as Yike will be interrupted. Still, they're not going to go for a re-engage, missing their support.
Yeah, I do love the immediate just, sorry, coming through from Yike as the Rift Out disappears and he feels significantly less threatening. But overall, I mean, G2, they get the mid lane tower. Yes, you get a push for 369 on the bottom side, but I don't think it really matters. The only thing is G2 maybe looking for a reset for Blade of the Rune King coming through for the Kog'Maw right before they start to go towards Dragon.
1.8k gold in his back pocket.
Yeah,
and he's going to buy a blade.
So Blade of the Rune King and Ginsu's both completed here at 17 minutes. That's a pretty quick 2-item spike to come in for the Kog'Maw. Not going to be able to get them a Drake though, because he was back in the shop with Boris. And so the Ocean Drake will be secured. It's a Mountain Soul this game as well. And if Top Esports can take some control back, I'm looking at Ksante and I'm thinking if there are 3 Mountain Drakes as well, I don't think the 369 will ever die.
I don't know if we're going to get to that stage, though, because with the way that it's positioned now, G2, you're basically moving Mickey back and forth between mid and bot to make sure this package doesn't get value, and it won't.
Well, it is going to be used underneath this turret as Destiny comes on forward. Creme is really dead, guys. Super duper dead.
And I think it's desperation from Top Esports.
And there's the ult forward as well from Yike. As JackeyLove, he's going to have to flash. That's not going to save him, though. Gold Cut comes in, and it's another double for Hans Sama. Caps on the top side of the map trying to deal with this massively fed Ksante. He's got the Ghost, and he will get the flash out of Caps.
369, he's TPing.
That's a teleport. He just needs to get himself out of there, I think, is the situation.
Yep, he realizes the collapse is happening. He sees more farm bot lane. 369 is pretty much the only threat on the side of Top Esports. As G2 punish what was a huge mistake from Creme. He sees that the pack is about to run out. I don't even think he wanted to commit. I think he just wanted to chip down onto Hans Summer's HP, and he did not respect Broken Blade's collapse enough. as he ends up losing his life.
And that's why I love the way that Miky played that setup on the bottom side. I was trying to highlight. Miky leans into bot to make sure BB can clear out the wave, so that then if this package gets used in mid, you can bring Broken Blade across. And it's G2 protecting both sides of the map, and then immediately being able to pick off Creme, as it just was desperation. He wanted to get some value from his package, especially since he used it twice already, but it only leads to 2 more kills going the way of this Kog'Maw.
And more adoration stacks just lying in the dirt. It's 0-3-0 for JackeyLove on his Draven. It's just not working out here as Top Esports just standing there in a bit of a triangle. It confused me a lot.
I mean, I will say that if anyone claims that they expected Hans and Miky to be bodying this bot lane, they would be a liar.
Yeah.
They have, Hans, Summer, and Miky have pleasantly surprised many with how they've been playing this 2 versus 2. And G2 are going to be more than happy for it, especially given how much criticism Hans Summer has been receiving over the last few days. But again, the game still long, still a lot left to go. And G2, with only a 4K gold lead while they're in a great position, still need to close this out. We think back to the previous game. Top Esports punished the Baron of G2, and if the gold gap hadn't been as big as it was, that could have been a turnaround fight. We know how resilient Top Esports is, and you've always got to be cautious of their ability to fight their way back into games.
The thing that I really like about the state of the game for G2 right now is, though, their 1-3-1 is well and truly in effect. They've got 2 of the greatest champions for side lane play in the Twisted Fate and the Tristana, and so they just need to make sure that Top Esports don't take Baron themselves, and they will just generally win.
369 is making part of that ineffective, though, because of how strong he is.
He is very
going
strong.
against Caps, going up against BB is fine, but I like what G2 are doing. They know that 369 doesn't have the teleport, so they are like, right, if we just hover in around the vision control that we've set up in Baron area, 369 has to roam. Great, that opens up Caps to now pushing on the bottom side, so I feel Top Esports may actually just start up this Baron to try and get Caps to join them in this area.
Well, Caps already moving towards that mid lane, as we could see, but no, decides against it. He's going to try and take down this outer turret, continue the pressure for G2 as JackeyLove will push this wave into the outer turret in mid. Finally, a Glacial Fissure is going to land onto JackeyLove, and there are the stacks. Yike comes in, finds the Prey Seeker, and there is the ulti to finish it off. And JackeyLove can't catch a break this game.
Misstep after misstep from Top Esports. Overextensions in G2 is incredibly quick to punish. Also, does Miky have a homing beacon on this queue? Because this man does not miss.
I was going to say, I didn't know when Braum was an engaged champion. This guy is just
not
finding it consistent.
I really hope that Kerry isn't watching this. He's not an engaged champion, okay? As Top Esports now looking to try and stop this Baron, but it's going down so incredibly fast. G2 looking for the turn. Destiny does come on through as there is Miky taking down 369. The biggest threat on the team is Tian. I'm not sure about that Cataclysm, but he wants to try and deny a Baron. He takes forever to go down, but he will be taken out in the end. The Baron's secured. The Whirling Death does absolutely nothing, and G2 will not be stopped.
Even Creme is trying to get into the middle of the Baron pit to steal away something, but G2, they're cool, they're calm, they're collected. The dog is spitting all over Top Esports, and there's nothing that they can do about it.
Game 2 in a series against Top Esports, and G2 are dominating in clean fashion. An expectation that is being defied. JackeyLove, he can't kill that last minion in time. And Miky, that's all he needs. That is the bridge for his engage. Yike says, you know what, Hans, you've got enough. I'll take this one. Let's balance the scores out a little bit as it sets up for the Baron.
10-0-4 on this Kog'Maw. And I've always thought of Kog'Maw as one of those more scaling champions that does a lot of damage in the late game. Apparently that's not how it is. You just kind of slaughter everyone all the time.
And 2-0-12 for Miky, 100% kill participation for this bot lane. An incredible glow up from
Battle
their series.
You know what's going well when your support has the same amount of items as your mid laner. You know, that's when you know the game is in a great spot.
It's crazy. I am dumbfounded right now at the level of play we're seeing from G2.
And it's a completely different draft. Outside of the Tristana, it's a completely different draft from what we saw in game number 1. But it's still a very similar shellacking coming on through here as they're now pushing on this inhibitor turret towards the bottom side. Creme trying to do what he can. The Glacial Fissure goes wide. They do try and get themselves out of there. That is a turret going down on the top side, but it means the Ksante isn't here. The most important member of this team. He's now going to have to look for a back angle to try and save this inhibitor, but it's not going to work out. This is definitely dead, but can G2 get more is the question. Mid lane inhibitor turret has been set up as the flash forward from Mickey once again gets the package onto JackeyLove. He blocks the whirling death as well, and now G2 are looking to get themselves out. They'll burrow, they'll rocket jump, and they'll be just fine. As Tian looking for his opportunity. Let's see whether he can find at least a target to try and focus on, but Creme's already down to 50%. The buster shot, too good from Caps, and the door is being placed. Massive damage to come out here, and the Kog'Maw is spitting mad onto top esports. This might just be it. JackeyLove just explodes, and Mickey, he's immortal.
5 alive for G2, 5 dead on the side of top esports. Just like that, 24 minutes, 30 seconds, G2 will wipe out top esports.
What was that? What an incredible team fight from G2. 12-0-7. If there's ever a way to silence the doubters, Hansama, that is the best way you can do it. Utter domination from G2 in game 2. And as long as they don't get complacent, I mean, I know as a member of a different region, you can go up 2-0 against top esports and still have to be a little bit worried. I think if G2 continue to play like this, it's a 3-0. What?
I mean, I'm just as surprised as you are. A 4-man knockup from Yike to round things out. It feels like the only player struggling today is Broken Blade, but even then, it's not really amounting into much. He comes back into the later team fight, still finds value. So impressive stuff from G2. Can they close things out as they bring us to match point?
That's all we'll have to find out, but if you're nostalgic for Heartsteel